All right, we're on. Chuck Destro, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm great, man. Where are you coming from?
So I'm here in Pittsburgh, PA. It's my original hometown. I was out in Indiana for about 10 years or so, but family brought me back. So back in East Coast, I guess Midwest, kind of.
Awesome, awesome. Well, listen, as I was just telling you off air a second ago, I'm looking to highlight some people associated with the podcast who have been either contributors to our podcast in terms of sponsorship or advertising, and you're definitely one of those guys who have been with us for a period of time now. So, first of all, thank you, and congratulations on your business. Destro Machines LLC is out there. You guys can get online. Go to destromachines.com, check it out. Incredible product, mate. But before we get into your specific products, you were a swimmer yourself and swam at Purdue, had an NCAA career. So just tell me about your own swimming career and how it evolved.
Oh, man. Well, I had an interesting one. I swam as a age group swimmer for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the typical long yardage type of stuff. Actually, somewhere around, I think, 12 or 13, I had a little bit of that burnout that you kind of see in that age group.
Right.
Stopped swimming for a few years. And then I got into high school, and our team really wanted, high talent athletes. Or you still there, Brett? I still got you.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I switched views on you and I didn't even warn you. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So I ended up getting back into it in high school. Just these guys, they wanted to buff the team up a little bit. So I had a few guys get me back into it. And then I'm a competitive guy, so it just took off.
Right.
Started training, started getting faster and faster. And this time I was focusing on sprinting, whereas I was doing like 200 back and stuff. And I found that a lot more exciting. And then I guess this was about the time flow swimming was out, and you were doing videos on flow swimming and things like that. So I would get home from high school, go on flow swimming, watch that stuff, get all jazzed up. So I'm a big fan, obviously, and then go to practice and work. And then
who was your club coach at the time?
Yeah, my club coach was a guy named Taz Griner.
Okay.
He was coaching. I swim for a pretty small team, small high school team, and I like that. He was a really good coach. We didn't have a big program or anything like that, but got a lot of personal attention and really good workouts. And
Nice.
Got recruited to Purdue, swam there. And
well, what were the other schools you were looking at before you committed to Purdue?
Yeah, I got recruited. Well, obviously, my dream, I think I was would have been Auburn. I thought
sorry. I apologize.
That's okay. You guys were a little bit above my level, I think. But I really liked watching. That was a ton of fun, and so pretty cool. Yeah, but I was mainly looking at Pitt and Purdue.
Right.
I didn't go on a ton of recruiting trips. I was just, I knew I wanted to do engineering.
Right.
Pitt was the local choice, and then my coach, he was like, "Hey, there's this pretty good engineering school called Purdue," and I didn't know anything about it. But it turns out that they're pretty good, and decided to go to Purdue. I think they had the edge in both swimming, the swimming program and the engineering program.
Right.
And my coach did not steer me wrong. It was a great program.
Yeah, absolutely. You said you knew you wanted to do engineering in high school. I didn't know. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do in high school. How did you know that back then?
Well, I mean, it's what my interest was. I would, besides swimming, I just loved ripping things apart, figuring out how they worked.
Right.
I mean, when I was like 10 years old, I think I tore one of my fans apart on my desk, like a household fan, and then I tore my RC car apart and I wired them together so it had this fan on the front, and I'd attack my friends' RC cars. It was just stuff like that where I was like, oh man, like I built a full-size catapult in the front yard when I was probably like 14 or 15. So it was just stuff like that. I was just so interested in how things worked.
Wow, that's incredible. That's amazing. I was reading through kind of your bio, and it said that you were a particle accelerator operator and technician at Purdue. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah. So while I was at Purdue, I needed to pick up a few bucks there to help pay for things. So I got a job that kind of helped me do that while also being able to study. So I worked. Purdue's got a particle accelerator in the basement of one of their buildings.
What's a particle accelerator for all us non engineers?
Yeah. So I'm not a nuclear engineer. But I have the general gist of what's going on. Really, what I did was just data collection there. I didn't do anything fancy.
Okay.
But particle accelerator, what they do is they accelerate materials through membranes, and that causes a release of rare isotope materials, and then they can collect those rare isotopes. So really, what you're trying to do is collect radioactive rare material for the most part. So that's at least what they were doing there. Right. I think that there's a lot of uses for particle accelerators. But yeah, I mean, it was a cool job. It looks really good on the resume, and it was fun.
That's fascinating, man. So you have this great experience at Purdue swimming wise and in the engineering department. When did the idea of what you're doing now kind of first come into being for you?
Well, I guess we probably started somewhere junior year of college, actually.
Okay.
So I had what I would consider a lackluster season my junior year.
Right.
We had 5 really good sprinters at the time. And Big Tens, I missed out on that 4th spot on the 200 free relay. Those guys went on to break the 200 free relay school record, while I'm watching on the side of the pool deck. So I was kind of going into senior year, I wanted to make sure that didn't happen again.
Right.
So I went into the strength coach, and I was like, something's not quite working right for me with my training. I need to come up with something to give me an edge, give me, improve this year. So we came up with a program together using, the old school power towers. And I would go in at noon every single day. So I was doing 3 workouts, and I would train on the towers exclusively. And I just learned so much about myself on them, how different ways to use them, different ways to do things. And then I had like half-second drop in the 50 that season.
Wow.
And I think, a lot of it was psychological. It gave me an edge because, you have something special. You got a secret sauce. You're feeling confident when you're going into workouts, when you're going into meets and things like that. But there definitely was a lot of physical to that too. Because, I mean, the in-season times were just almost best times all season long.
Right, for sure. Well, the whole basis around your business is power training, and resistance training works. It does. Like we were doing that at Auburn back when you wanted to join us at the time. Like that was the big part of our program was power training. And we felt like that's kind of what, I don't know if it separated us, because I'm sure there were other people doing power training, but we were really emphasizing it as a major aspect of our training. And it sounds like it's kind of what you incorporated your senior year, and then you see those drops, you feel those drops, you have that confidence too, which helps you then get behind the blocks, knowing that you're feeling very powerful and strong too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest changes is I just felt so much stronger in workouts. Like I was able to train harder. I don't know whether some of it was neurological, some of it was actually recovery, but it changed things for me dramatically. And then I graduated. I had a 5th year because I was engineering, swimming, extra workouts, working some of the time. So 5th year, kind of took it easy, didn't really swim. But I would occasionally, be competitive. I'd race guys, just fun stuff. And then after that, a year after, I think that was 2015. So we're coming up on the 2016 Olympic trials. I thought about maybe giving it a go because I was pretty close to the trials cut. Started off and on training here and there while working. So I had my first manufacturing engineering job.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a really nice lunch break where I could get in the pool 40 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe, but mostly 30-minute workouts. And, I love swimming. As you know, I love finding out how stuff works. So I was like, I'm never going to be training that 4 or 5 hours again, like I used to. But maybe I can figure out better ways to train. Maybe I can figure out how to make this Olympic trials cut without 4 or 5 hours. Maybe can I do it in 30 minutes? So that's where this idea really started coming along is, well, I knew that the power tower training was doing a ton for me in college. So can we use what I learned there and shrink down the volume and still get a similar performance? And, I started looking up how much these towers cost. Oh, I can't really afford that. So maybe, I'm a manufacturing engineer. We build stuff like this all the time. Maybe I can do that. So that's when it started really making the towers.
Wow. So did you have a conversation with somebody else about going into business in terms of how do you start a business and how would I get this thing off the ground? Like in terms of just the, making this thing work from going from an idea to actually being able to sell a product. Who did you
Yeah.
talk to about that?
Well, it wasn't really designed to be sold at the beginning.
Okay.
It was for myself.
Wow.
But it was my own need. But I think that's one of the reasons why it's been so successful for me is that I built something for a need that is out there for a customer that really needs something, and I was the customer. So like if I need it and it works for me, then it's going to work for other people. And really, what happened was some other people saw this, some local coaches, and they go, hey, why don't you get 1 or 2 of those in here for us and we'll try it and we'll see how it goes. So then to answer your question, how did this kind of roll into a business? Well, right there, I sold 1 or 2. And I go, maybe I can continue staying in swimming, continue developing more technology, and then we can use the money that we're making from selling a couple towers to do that. And I'll still work a job and it'll just be my hobby on the side. Right.
Right.
And well, it started becoming more than that very quickly. So I started dedicating more and more time to it. And it really just started taking over. A few years down the road, I was ready to be done with working engineering, the manufacturing engineering, the long hours. And I really enjoyed what I was doing with these towers. So I just jumped ship really. And then we had some kind of inconvenient timing with my dad got sick at the time, and I was in Indiana. He was in Pennsylvania. So I needed to move because it was pretty severe, and I couldn't get a job, and I had this business on the side. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to quit. I'm going to move back to Pittsburgh, and I'm going to go all in on this business. So it was a blessing in disguise. But yes, still, you don't want your dad to get sick. You don't want to have to quit your job and move.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have the original prototypes, like when you go back and look at the Apple computer, like the original do you still have that one?
Yeah. I haven't kept it as complete as I wanted because we kind of used it as like prototyping and testing new stuff. But there are some originals out there. West Lafayette, that's where Purdue is. Their high school team has some of the early versions. So yeah, if we want to get some photos of that, I'm sure it can happen. We can slap it back together.
Yeah. Send some out. That'd be cool. So, well, in terms of the initial growth, you start with selling a couple. Where does it go from there? How does it become a real business where this is kind of sustainable and this is something that's growing exponentially?
Sure. So where are we going in the future? Well, the big thing is that power towers and this type of equipment has never really been that accessible at the high school, the club, and the international level, just because of shipping and a lot of other factors. Our design kind of fixes that a little bit. We got a smaller footprint, so we're able to get customers that have never been able to have this type of training before. Like I've got high school programs, they've never used resistance before. They're coming back saying they had great results. So that's really the sustainability for the time being, is hitting those teams that they've just never been able to access this type of thing before. And then in the future, obviously, everyone could have a tower at some point. We could saturate, but that's where the new technology comes in. I've had ideas for years of things that would help me, and therefore help other people that we're working on. One of those is the swim meter that you've seen. Yes, it's early, and it takes a while to develop these types of things, but the potential of that product and then the next products after that are just massive.
Yeah, I see that. I see you've got the original swim tower, so that's a single unit, right? And then you've got the double tower, so you got two towers back to back, right next to each other. Is a swimmer able to pull the two towers at once?
Yeah, so the double bucket, you can use two swimmers at a time, one on each bucket, or you can put both belts on and pull both at the same time, which there's some pretty powerful athletes that can do that type of thing. We're also working on some attachments so that you can add even more resistance to that if needed.
Wow. Yeah, Bruno Fratis would love the double tower for sure. He likes to pull as much weight as he can. And actually, to be honest with you, we're actually going into a phase right now where we're adding a lot more resistance training to what he's doing. We came back after the Olympics and kind of went through kind of a pre-meltdown phase, like we're getting some fat off his body from the Olympics, but now he's in shape. We want to start to really add some resistance and power, and so we're going into this phase right now. So the double tower is going to help us a lot here. And then that you have the power station. Talk to me about the power station.
Yeah, the power station, I just wanted to make something, because it's so logical. You don't need this huge frame.
Right.
If you have the ability to mount something to your railing or to your wall. And so we made something that's a little bit less expensive, and you can mount it to the wall. It's a lot smaller, and it's just so logical. I'm sure people have seen this around. I think Michigan's got kind of their own little setup. IU's got their own little setup, but why get this huge, gigantic frame for this resisted stuff if you don't need to?
Right.
It's like you hang it on the wall like a pull-up bar. I mean, you see pull-up bars on pool decks all the time. So why not something like this?
Right. And then talk to me about the swim meter. What's going on with that?
Yeah, the swim meter is really exciting. So we're looking at really, really fine measurement of speed over short distances. So the swim meter, when you attach it to the tower, you can get your splits to 5 meters to 10 meters, 15, 20, exact. And I'll tell you what, Brett, this is so fun for somebody like me who loves numbers and loves to get better, is I would sit there and do 5 meter blasts, and I would change small things in my technique and see 500 drop, and just trying to figure out how to maximize that first 5 meters. And you can do that at 10, 15, 20. And the best part about it is, like, we can build off of this. We can get even better data where you're seeing velocity graphs.
Right.
And then if we introduce, and this is a little bit of a spoiler alert of things that I'm thinking of, if we can introduce ways where we can measure the resistance as well precisely, we can start developing equations for how much drag are you producing versus how much thrust are you producing. Right? And so I can take a look at Bruno, and this is just an example of something that might be able to happen with this technology, is he might have really high drag or really low drag. Let's look at Bruno. He's probably a low drag guy and high power. And then maybe you look at a Caesar, where he might be a little bit higher power, but a little bit higher drag. And we can actually start to see, why are these guys so good at what they do? What is going on? So, like, this is super exciting to me, because it's explaining what makes these swimmers so good. Right?
Yeah.
And we can
love it. Yeah, I love it. I love just the aspect of having accurate measured time for the
Mhm.
for this product, for the power tower? Because I would have people ask me all the time, like, how do you measure it, how do you use it, how do you scale it, those sorts of things, what type of sets do you use? And it was almost impossible to get accurate timing on these
Yeah.
things, because you're going off stopwatches. You don't exactly know when it starts or stops, and you don't know where they're at in the movement type
Mhm.
thing. So to have accurate splits at those measurements, I think is just going to open up a world of coaching ability to be able to add power training in, accurate power training in to swim sets. You could create a swim set based on the power on the tower now. So super, innovative, good stuff, man. I love that. Is there anything else on the horizon? Are you happy with kind of the 4 products you've got right now? Is there anything else that might be coming out soon?
Yeah, we're definitely working on stuff.
Okay, good.
The stuff that I can talk about is the software side of the swim meter. Developing that more into fine velocity type meter with video
Awesome.
overlay.
Beautiful.
That's going to help with technique development, but also training as well. Where I mean, right now you can use these splits to develop a training program, right? So you can say you're going to do 10-meter blasts, and once you drop below this amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
we got to cut it off. So that's kind of like a USRPT type of thing.
Right.
But in addition to that, we're working on some other more advanced products. And I'm also starting to look into more of the biochemistry type of side of things. Because right now we see the mechanical aspects of what's going on with the athlete, but I also want to see the internal chemical processes that are going on as well. So that's an up and coming technology that we're looking at. So big things coming. Don't want to
Wow.
talk too much about it yet. Get people too excited, and then we have to wait a couple of years.
No, I love it, man. I love where your brain's at. You're on a different level than most people, especially me. But I'm glad that I'm glad you're creating products that I can use. That's fantastic. Is your stuff available all over the world?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got towers all over the place. Australia, New Zealand. We're in Indonesia. Pretty much most of the Asian countries. We're in a lot of the European countries. All over the place. Yeah,
So
you can.
people just go to destromachines.com and just order it in any country and ship straight to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
Beautiful. I love that, man. That's wicked. That's awesome. Really good. In terms of when a swimmer would come along, a young up and coming swimmer, would kind of make me uneasy a little bit. I'm sure there's competition in your field as well. You've come along and you've created this incredibly competitive product. Do you feel, do you sense competition with people around you?
Yeah, there's always that, but we're used to competition, right? We're
Yeah.
we're there, and it makes you better. Anytime I feel somebody's breathing down my neck, it makes me work harder on this stuff, and
Right.
it's good. I try not to get too worked up about it.
Mhm.
Obviously, as a competitive guy, yeah, you get worked
Yeah.
up a little bit, but
Yeah.
you got to balance it. It's just like anything.
All right, just give us maybe your top 3 tips for some young entrepreneur out there who has an idea, who maybe is a little hesitant to kind of go forward. Thinking back a couple of years where you were, what would you say to someone in your shoes back then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the number one is you got to go for it. There's too many people that they're like, oh, well, I got to be safe, I got to be secure, and the reality is, you're never going to be 100% ready on any of this. Um, and like I said, I had a blessing in disguise where I was kind of thrust into making this decision to jump in. But that was the best decision I made, was just jump in. You just got to do it. You got to be confident in yourself, and that probably goes to point number 2, which is more about yourself than anyone. So try to you got to take in what other people have to say, but you got to believe in yourself. You got to trust in yourself.
Right.
So yeah, those are really really the big ones. You just
Good
got to
advice.
be confident, and you got to jump in. There's just so many people that never actually do it because they're always planning, right? They're always want to come up with a perfect way. It's not going to happen. You got to do it.
I'm sure you've had some setbacks along the way, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's 10 times harder than you think it's going to be. There's 10 times more things that are going to pop up. But the point is, you're resilient. And when those things happen, we get over it. We get through it, come up with a solution and move on.
Do you have full-time employees working for you?
Yeah, we're still, we try to stay small kind of intentionally. Mainly my brother is my biggest asset. He's a software side of this, so he's developing swim meters back end.
Beautiful.
And then mostly family, but we do call in help as needed.
I love it, man. Little mafia going on. Beautiful. Keep it in the family. Cosa Nostra, man. That's awesome. Well, listen, we didn't get a chance to work with each other as swimmer and coach, but here we are working together now, man. I love it. Your product's incredible. I'm a big fan of it. You're doing great things for the swimming community, whether you know it or not. You're making swimmers better and all around the world. So congrats on the product. Congrats on jumping in and trusting yourself and backing yourself. And good luck with everything, man. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your ideas today. Thank you.
Hey, thanks very much. It's always fun, meeting one of your childhood idols. So I very much enjoyed this. I hope we get to talk again sometime.
Very good, man, Chuck. All right, take care and go to destromachines.com. Get your Destro Power Tower now. Get on there. And what is the code, Brett?
Yeah, I believe it's code Brett. And I think it's $150 off double tower with using that code. So, that applies to anyone, anywhere. If you're ordering from New Zealand, if you're ordering from Australia, absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Get your towers today. All right, cheers, mate. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Bye. Destro Swim Towers. Gain strength in the water with a tower of power. Save $150 per double swim tower by using code BRETT, BRETT, at checkout. DestroMachines.com.